She never planned to become a hero. She never wanted attention. She never imagined that one day her name would be whispered in boardrooms and courtrooms and news studios across the country. She was just a woman who believed in doing her job honestly, a woman who believed numbers were supposed to tell the truth, a woman who believed that systems existed to protect people, not to destroy them. Every morning she woke up before sunrise. The house was quiet, the world still asleep. She made coffee the same way every day, strong and bitter, like the life she was slowly learning to endure. She wore simple clothes, neutral colors, nothing that drew attention, because attention in her world was dangerous. Attention meant questions, and questions were never welcome where she worked. The company was enormous. Glass walls, steel elevators, perfect smiles printed on posters that promised innovation and integrity, a place everyone dreamed of working, a place parents bragged about, a place investors trusted with their life savings. She had trusted it too. At first, it felt like winning the lottery, a stable job, good salary, health insurance, respect. Her family finally stopped worrying about her future. She told herself she was lucky, and for a long time she believed it, until the numbers stopped making sense. It began quietly, so quietly that she almost blamed herself. A small discrepancy here, a minor adjustment there, nothing that screamed fraud, just whispers of something being wrong. She checked again, and again. Late at night, after everyone else had gone home, the office lights dimmed, the city glowing outside the windows, her reflection staring back at her like a stranger. The numbers still did not match. She told her supervisor. He smiled politely, said she was overthinking, said this company operated at a level she did not yet understand. Trust the process, trust the leadership, trust us. She wanted to. God, she wanted to. So she went home, ate dinner alone, stared at the ceiling, told herself tomorrow everything would look normal again. But tomorrow only made it worse. The deeper she looked, the darker it became. Revenue inflated, losses buried, reports altered after approval, signatures copied, dates changed. It was not a mistake, it was a machine, and she was standing inside it. Her hands started shaking at work, her sleep disappeared, her appetite followed. She stopped laughing, stopped answering calls. Her mother asked if she was sick. She said she was just tired. But tired did not feel strong enough to explain the fear growing inside her. She began saving files, screenshots, emails, spreadsheets, each one heavier than the last, each one proof that what she was seeing was real. And with every file she saved, she understood something terrifying. This was not a small scam. This was not a few bad actors. This was a billion-dollar lie. She thought about quitting, walking away, forgetting everything, living a quiet life. But then she thought about the people who trusted this company, retirees, families, patients, workers, people who would lose everything if the truth never came out, and she realized silence would make her complicit. The pressure started soon after. Meetings without invitations, emails that excluded her, cold smiles, whispers that stopped when she walked by. One morning her access was restricted, another morning her desk was moved, another morning she was told her role was under review. She was being erased. Friends at work stopped talking to her, not because they hated her, but because they were afraid. Fear spreads faster than truth. Then the threats came, not loud, not obvious, just subtle enough to deny. Careful what you say, careful what you save, careful what you think you know. Her phone rang at night with no one on the line. Her car felt followed. Her name appeared in internal reports labeled as difficult. She cried alone in her bathroom, hands over her mouth so no one would hear. She asked herself if this was worth it, if any truth was worth this much pain. Then she opened the files again, and she knew she could not stop. She contacted a lawyer quietly, then a regulator, then a journalist. Each step felt like jumping without a parachute. When the story finally broke, the world exploded. Stock prices collapsed, executives resigned, investigations launched, headlines screamed, and her life fell apart. She was fired, blacklisted, dragged through the media, accused of lying, of seeking attention, of being unstable. They questioned her past, her motives, her sanity. They wanted to destroy her credibility because they could not destroy the truth. She lost friends, lost income, lost peace. Some days she could not get out of bed. Some nights she wondered if survival itself was victory enough. But then something changed. People she had never met began writing to her. "Thank you. You saved my retirement. You stopped them. You gave us the truth." And slowly she understood something profound. Courage doesn't feel powerful when you're living it. It feels terrifying. It feels lonely. It feels like standing alone against a storm. But courage changes the world anyway. The trials dragged on. Years passed. Settlements were reached. Executives convicted. Reforms forced. The company never recovered, and neither did she. Not fully. But she rebuilt, piece by piece. A new job, a quieter life, a deeper sense of purpose. She never became rich. She never became famous. She became something far rarer. She became proof. Proof that one woman can expose a billion-dollar lie. Proof that truth doesn't need permission. Proof that integrity still matters. And somewhere tonight, another woman is staring at numbers that don't make sense, wondering if she should look away. And because of her, she might choose not to. After the headlines faded, after the cameras moved on, after the world decided the story was old news, she was still there. Still waking up in the same quiet house, still making the same bitter coffee, still sitting in silence that felt heavier than any courtroom. People thought the hardest part was over. They were wrong. The hardest part was surviving the truth. She walked into interviews that ended the moment her name was recognized. She watched smiles freeze, watched interest disappear. "We admire your courage," they said, "but we cannot take the risk." Courage did not pay rent. Courage did not silence the nights. Courage did not stop the shaking in her hands. Some mornings she questioned everything. Not the truth, never the truth. She questioned herself. Was I naive? Was I arrogant? Did I destroy my own life for nothing? On those days, she opened a small box she kept hidden. Inside were letters, handwritten, messy, real, from strangers, from people who had lost everything and then gotten it back, from people who said, "Your voice reached us before the damage was complete." She read those letters slowly, as if each word stitched something broken inside her. The company fought back even after the verdicts. They appealed, they delayed, they buried information deeper. They wanted to exhaust her, outlast her, erase her memory. But exhaustion did not erase truth. It only proved how afraid they still were. She testified again and again, her voice calmer, stronger, steadier, not because she was fearless, but because fear no longer controlled her. She had already lost what they could take. There were nights when she dreamed of spreadsheets chasing her, of elevators that never stopped, of voices telling her to stay quiet. She woke up drenched in sweat, heart racing, but awake, alive. She started speaking to small rooms, universities, community halls. Sometimes only 5 people showed up. She told them the truth, not the glamorous version, not the heroic version, the lonely version, the terrifying version. She told them courage feels like isolation.
Integrity feels like punishment. Doing the right thing does not come with guarantees. And still, she said, it is worth it, because silence has a cost, and someone always pays it. One evening, a young woman stayed behind, eyes full of fear, hands clenched. She said, "I think something is wrong where I work. I don't know what to do." And in that moment, she understood why she survived. Not to be remembered, but to remind others they are not alone. She told her, "Look carefully, document everything, protect yourself, but do not let them convince you that truth is weakness." The woman cried and hugged her. That hug mattered more than any award. Years later, her name appeared in textbooks, footnotes, case studies. Students read about her in clean classrooms, detached, analytical. They would never feel the nights, the fear, the loss, but they would know one thing: someone stood up, and because someone stood up, rules changed, oversight increased, whistleblowers gained protection. Not enough, never enough, but more than before. She walks past the old building sometimes. The glass walls still shine, but the company name is gone. She does not feel victory. She feels peace. A quiet understanding that truth leaves scars, but lies leave graves. She goes home, waters a small plant by the window, smiles at nothing, and somewhere deep inside she knows if she had to choose again, she would still speak, because $1 billion lie is powerful, but a single honest voice can crack it forever.
Time passed. Not quickly, not kindly, but steadily. She learned how to live with what she could not erase. The fear softened. The anger faded. The pain stayed, but it no longer controlled her breathing. She stopped checking the news, stopped searching her name, stopped waiting for apologies that would never come. Some people from the company disappeared into quiet retirements. Some rebuilt their lives behind closed doors. Some never admitted anything at all. The world moved on. It always does. But something had shifted beneath the surface. New laws were written. Compliance departments grew teeth. Whistleblower hotlines stopped being decorative posters, not because systems suddenly became moral, but because someone had shown what happens when they are not. She was invited to a ceremony once, a small stage, a polite crowd, an award with a long name. They called her brave. They called her inspirational. She accepted it with a calm smile, and later placed it in a drawer. Because bravery was never her goal, and inspiration was never her reward. Her reward was quieter. It was waking up without dread. It was walking outside without looking over her shoulder. It was sleeping through the night. She began mentoring quietly. No spotlight, no speeches, just listening, just guiding, just telling people the truth about telling the truth. That it will cost you, that it will hurt, that it may take everything you think defines you, and that it will still be worth it. One evening, she stood alone by a window, watching the city lights flicker like distant stars. She thought about the woman she used to be, careful, compliant, certain that following rules was the same as doing right. She did not judge her. She understood her. We all believe the world works until we see that it does not. She thought about how close she came to walking away, to deleting the files, to choosing safety over honesty, and she felt a strange gratitude for the fear that pushed her forward, because fear revealed her values, and values revealed her strength. Years from now, someone will watch this story, maybe late at night, maybe tired, maybe afraid. Someone will recognize themselves in her hesitation, in her isolation, in her doubt, and they will realize something. You do not have to be loud to be powerful. You do not have to be fearless to be brave. You do not have to win to matter. You only have to speak. Because $1 billion lie depends on silence, and silence depends on people believing they are alone. She proved they are not. She proved one voice can disrupt an empire, one choice can protect millions, one woman can change the direction of truth. And even now, she is not asking to be remembered. She is asking only this: when you see something wrong, do not look away, because the world does not change all at once. It changes when one ordinary person refuses to stay silent. And that is how a billion-dollar scam was exposed, not by power, not by wealth, but by courage that chose truth over fear. And the truth, once spoken, never goes back to sleep.